Sports. I'm Wesley Boone. They say you come to LSU for the big moments, the biggest stage. Well, the stage was set today, an elimination game against Florida State in Baton Rouge Super Regional. Let's see how it played out. If that wasn't exciting enough, the guest speaker of honor tonight is baseball legend Darryl Strawberry, and he happens to be joining me right now. Mr. Strawberry, get on in here.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. How are you enjoying Cenla so far? 2019 inductee class is full of legends, but maybe the biggest name, Peyton Manning. He joins us now. Peyton, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
You know, this year's biggest name, Peyton Manning, arrived yesterday evening to partake in the weekend of festivities, and he's joining a class that includes Cenla natives Marie Gagnard, Charles Smith, and T. Barry Porter. Now, last year, you kind of played a role in Brandon Stokely finding out that he was inducted. A year later, to kind of be joining him, Reggie, some Colts teammates.
Yeah.
It's kind of turning into like a kind of a Colts Hall of Fame over here, too.
Well, that's good. That's good. We had a bunch of great players, and, you know, I always felt a connection with guys from Louisiana.
Trey, you can still hear the boos from the Superdome. It was loud all afternoon, but maybe never louder than it was when the officials missed a pass interference call that would have effectively ended the game and potentially sent the Saints to the Super Bowl. Peabody legend is going to be enshrined in the rafters, and he's joining me right now. Jalen Richard. Jalen, kind of take me through some of the emotions kind of going through you right now, knowing, hey, you're about to be basically immortalized here at Peabody. That was going to be my first question. Obviously, your faith is such a big part of your identity. How much of a factor did that play into you wanting to work with the SCA?
Well, it's a major factor in my life. It's my everyday life of getting up and knowing what's important is my faith and being able to make a difference in somebody else's life.
Welcome back to your sports, and welcome to Kansas City. We're in the heart of downtown KC, sitting right outside the Municipal Auditorium. It's this gorgeous building right behind me, and that's where they're playing all of the NAIA tournament games. Central Louisiana was well represented in this year's 2019 Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame class, and though the trio's journeys couldn't be more different, their stories will now share the same home forever in Natchitoches. Plenty of positive to talk about from this game. For example, the Saints defense holds the Eagles to only 6 second-half rushing yards, under 50 rushing yards for the entire game. Really, from midway through the first quarter on, they pitch a shutout. They pick off Nick Foles twice. You think the main storyline would be, hey, the Saints defense played stellar, but here in New Orleans, people are still gushing about that 18-play, 92-yard epic drive. Earlier this week, Sean Payton rolled into his locker room a glass case filled with $225,000 in ones and a Vince Lombardi trophy. He told his players, you want this? Win 3, well, I can't say exactly what he said, but win 3 football games. This morning's matchup between Tennessee and LSU had been circled on the calendar for a while now, and while the Volunteers weren't the #1 team in the country, the game provided the Tigers the opportunity to take down 2 top-5 opponents in the span of 10 days. If you're trying to find an example of excellence in Central Louisiana football, well, look no further than the Manny Tigers. They defeated the Vidalia Vikings 35-0. 10 years ago, Saints kicker Garrett Hartley kicked a field goal in overtime to put the Saints ahead of the Minnesota Vikings and onto the Super Bowl. Well, fast forward to today, and a kick was made in overtime to send a team to the big game. That kick was made by Greg Zuerlein. He plays for the Los Angeles Rams. A quiet start for the Brad Laird era for Northwestern State. In a game marred with discipline penalties and tons of mistakes, we're also no closer to figuring out who the quarterback is going to be for these Demons. My favorite moment was Dana Carvey and Mike Myers.
That was fun, too.
Introducing Bohemian Rhapsody, bringing back Wayne and Garth from Wayne's World. That was fun.
They did
that? Was fun.
They did it. It was great.
Watched.
It was so good.
I wouldn't watch football, wouldn't watch film. I had football helmets in my house that I moved out of sight, so, you know, I just didn't want anything to do with it.
It seemed that after 20 years of coaching, Benny Vault was leaving his coaching career behind.
So I decided I was just going to be retired. I wasn't going to do anything.
Until his phone began to buzz.
And I got a call one morning. It was at 3 a.m. in the morning. And he said, brother, God told me to tell you to take that job. Let's go, Brock, let's go, let's go, let's go. I said, Doc, whatever you had to tell me, You could have told me that at 7:30 in the morning. I said, Carl woke me up at 3 a.m. He said, no, Coach, God told me the people of Jonesville need you, and you need to take that job.
A job Vault once held for 15 years. Initially, he wasn't sure if his return was the appropriate path, but the man on the other end of the phone was sure of it.
And I have been praying, asking God, God said he was going to restore some things. It was an eye moment for me to pick up the phone by 2:30 in the morning, I think it was, 3 o'clock, some of that nature. Coach answered the phone on the first ring. I was praying and I just felt prompted. I heard the Lord say that I need my servant Benny back at block.
I said, you sure? You sure? I said, I'm not interested in coaching.
And I said, Coach, the Lord just keep on telling me that you're going back to block.
He prayed with me, so when he prayed, he revealed some stuff that I know he didn't know.
Some of those things included the struggle he's had dealing with the loss of his late wife. Then Doc asked a simple question. What would LaDonna, his late wife, want him to do?
She was crazy about Block High School. She bled the Columbia Blue and red, so I said, well, you put it like that, I said, well, I'll think about it. Line down there, line always down there.
And here we are. Vault is in his second stint as the Bears head coach. For Vault, the decision to return has been less about football and more about having an impact in the Jonesville community.
Come on, guys, let's go. Hey, quit sprint off the ball.
Coach Vault he's a community man, and every community needs a community man.
I'm glad I came back. I think I came back for just more than football. Now, I can see it being promising here, back by next year. And so we just gonna keep working. We got new kids.
Dear God. Fast to go through in life. Ready for a chance to fail. A chance to go strife. A chance to do a dare.
I don't do this for the money. And I'm doing it because I love this community, I love these kids.
For Benny Vault, his homecoming is about more than just the game he loves.
And I want to see my hometown thrive.
Reporting from Jonesville, Louisiana, Wesley Boone, News Channel 5 Sports. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame's goal is to memorialize the state's very best sports figures. With that comes some of the state's very best sports stories.
Louisiana Sports Hall of Famer, Marie Gagnard.
Cenla native Marie Gagnard is the keeper to one of the best stories of the 2019 class.
In 1993, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. I had surgery to remove my thyroid. They got all the cancer, but it paralyzed one of my cords.
And just like that, the professional tennis officiating career of Gagnard was in jeopardy. But little by little, her voice returned, as did she, back to the career she so dearly loves.
I've enjoyed rodeoing. I met a lot of friends, and I've got my family. I think my family and friends that worked on this to get me here. I never thought I'd make it.
Leesville native T. Barry Porter has plenty of stories of his own. The 92-year-old rodeo cowboy became the first rodeo cowboy inducted in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame.
Cowboying has been a good life for me. I've met a lot of people, and I hope everybody realizes what it means to somebody.
The evening was equally as emotional for Peabody coach Charles Smith, who, while reflecting on his journey, couldn't help but choke up.
By all odds, I should not be here tonight. By today's standard, I am what you would call an at-risk kid. But because the love of my community and my family, I was able to make it.
3 phenomenal sports stories from 3 Cenla sports legends. Now, forever enshrined in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame.